Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Erin and today is Book Review Friday and we have an interesting one to talk about today, and it is The Forgotten Island by David Sodergren. Sodergren? I don't know how to... I think that's how you say his last name. I'm not sure. I'm very sorry if that is wrong. Not good at pronouncing last names, guys. You should know this. It's a reoccurring theme on my channel where I don't know how to pronounce the author's last name. I feel really bad about it because I also have a last name that is super hard to pronounce, so I know how they feel, and then I feel terrible when I don't know how to pronounce their last names. We're talking about The Forgotten Island today, and I love this cover. I think it is so cool. It's a very old school, very 80s in my opinion. I think it is supposed to be an 80s themed novel, and it looks very 80s in my opinion. It has that feel, but I really liked the cover. It's why I picked it up. I buy a lot of my horror books based off of the covers because that's the first thing I see, and if it grabs my attention, then I pick it up. So let's get into a synopsis of the book, like always, and then I'll tell you guys my thoughts and overall opinions of the book. The book begins with Thai workers turning an island in Thailand into a resort. However, they notice while building, a cave opened up on the site and actually swallowed up one of the workers. This leads them to try and find out what this cave is and where the worker is and try to rescue him because they think that he has probably like fallen in and like hurt himself, but it turns out not to be a normal cave. Fast forward to present day, Anna, her sister Rachel, and Rachel's boyfriend Paul, who is a major dickhead, all take a trip to Thailand. Anna and Rachel don't have the best relationship. They're not very close, so they go on this trip to Thailand to try and mend it and just become closer. Anna is also overcoming some personal issues. It is revealed later on in the story what they are, but in the beginning of the novel you aren't quite sure what happened to her. One night, while Anna is waiting for Paul and Rachel to finish their alone time, she meets Ricky. Ricky is also traveling with a couple, so he is also a third wheel, and they kind of just bond and get drunk together. They have so much fun together that they decide that her group and his group should meet at this full moon party the next night, which is a giant party on the island. This party is where everything goes wrong. Everyone is partying very hard, and I mean very hard. The next morning they wake up in a boat in the middle of nowhere with no idea of how they got on the boat or where they are or how to get back to the island. They are all missing their clothing as well because to get to the boat they had to swim to the boat, and they all decided they had to take off all their clothing for it, so everyone's pretty much in their underwear. Paul is the only one from the original group that is not on the boat. However, there is an Australian trio that they met at the party that is on the boat with them. The boat eventually finds land, which, you guessed it, is the island from the very beginning of the book. That's all I'm going to tell you guys because this is pretty much where the story starts to get crazy, and I don't want to go into too much detail, and I just wanted to give you guys a little brief synopsis. So let's talk about the characters. First of all, I hated pretty much every character in the book, except for Anna. She's the only rational one. She's the only smart one. She's the only relatable, realistic character. The others are just so rude and obnoxious and stupid and irritating, and yeah, they're just really bad characters. You really just don't like any of them. Rachel's an okay character, but because her and Anna aren't very close, their bond isn't very good. So I don't know, Rachel's just not a great character either. They all just kind of suck, and you don't really care if they live or die, to be honest. Except for Anna. She was the only one I was rooting for the whole time because she's the only one I actually cared about. So everyone else, who cares? The plot is actually really good. It reminds me of a lot of other horror movies like The Ruins, Indigenous, Cannibal Holocaust. I never actually finished Cannibal Holocaust because that movie is... I didn't like it. I didn't like it. There's a scene with a turtle. Turtles are my favorite animals. Yeah, so those movies aren't identical to one another. They're kind of similar. They all have a little bit of differences, and that's how I feel about this book. The book is kind of the same, but it is different. They're all very different from each other, but they have that similar feel. People going to a different place, they get drunk, they do stupid things, and then they meet trouble. Do you know what I'm saying? It's that same plot that is very much like The Ruins, Indigenous, Cannibal Holocaust, movies like that. This is also pretty gore heavy. It's not too bad. I have read books that have way too much gore in them and it's hard to read. I personally don't mind gore in horror as long as it's done right. I don't like when the plot is centered around gore and there isn't much else. It's just gore central and that's it. It's lacking in everything else. That's not this book. It does have a lot of gore, but it's not the central theme or the central point, so I thought it fit in very nicely. The ending. I hated the ending. I did not like the ending. I honestly didn't like the second half of the book, if I'm honest. It just, I don't know, after they landed on the bad island, it just kind of went downhill from there for me because it's not exactly what I wanted. I don't know. It's different and I like that, but I didn't like it either, if that makes any sense. I don't know. It's hard to explain without telling you exactly what happened, but it just wasn't exactly what I would have done if I was writing a book, which is fine because I don't write books. I just didn't personally like the ending. It was very predictable, in my opinion, extremely predictable. It's a very obvious ending, which, I didn't necessarily like. I would have liked some more of a plot twist for the ending, but it just wasn't there, and it was slightly disappointing to already know what was going to happen. From the moment you start the book, you pretty much know what's going to happen. I mean, there is a slight twist, but overall it's very typical, which some people like. I like typical in slashers, but with something like this, I just feel like you have to do something a little bit different with the ending, and I just didn't get that, and it was slightly disappointing to me. So no, I didn't like the ending. It wasn't great. Overall, I thought the book was fine. I thought it was pretty decent. I would give it like a 3.5 out of 5. That's probably what I'm gonna rate it on Goodreads. It's not spectacular, it's not anything new, it's not anything groundbreaking, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad book. It was fine, it was fun to read, it was decent, but after it was over, I wasn't like, yeah, I would like to read that again right now. So, at least in my opinion, this is all my opinion. I'm sure some people probably have a way different opinion than me, which is great. I'm sure some people love this book and I hope they do. Just my opinion wasn't exactly my cup of tea. However, in the back of the book, it says, coming in 2019, Night Shoot, a novel of unrelenting slasher horror, which was last year, which excites me because I love slasher horror. So I might pick up his slasher book because I feel like that would be right up my alley. I love slashers so much, and I don't know, he's a good writer. I did enjoy reading his book. It's just not my favorite. So I'm wondering if his slasher book is like what I need to read, because I'm kind of tempted to buy it because I think it would be good. I love slasher horror. Slasher horror is the best. Let me know if you want me to check out his other slasher book and do a review on that, because I think that would be really fun, and I'm always looking for new slashers to read. Let me know if you gave this book a read and what you thought. I'd love to know your opinions, especially if they're different from mine. I love hearing other people's opinions on books, as long as they're polite and nice. Some people are pretty rude if you don't like the book that they like, so, you know, if you have an opinion and it's polite, I would love to hear it, and we can discuss what you liked and what you didn't like, and, you know, compare notes, and I think that would be fun. Yeah guys, so this is the end of the video. If you enjoyed, please give me a thumbs up. It lets me know what kind of content you are enjoying on my channel. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and we can become friends and talk about books and horror and makeup and all kinds of other things, and it'll be lots of fun. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!